So our final calculation method is the scalar method, and we're using the same 5 assignments as we did in our previous examples. Now, under the total points model, we saw how the assignment weight was a function of the assignment point value divided by the total points of all of the assignments within that particular unit. When we use the scalar method, the point values of the various assignments are not used to determine that assignment's weight. Instead, we replace them with a scalar value. And this way, the weight that gets assigned to each assignment is easily adjusted, and it doesn't really matter what the total points of the assignment are. So for instance, this first assignment could have been marked out of 300, and by using the scale value we can essentially make these first 3 assignments equal by assigning the same scale value. So the first step in the process of determining any particular assignment's weight is to find out, well, how many scale points do we have assigned in this particular folder. So our first step is to add up these 5 scale points and see what that equals. Now, it just so happened that the scale value that I had assigned for each of these 5 assignments added to 50, or added to 100, sorry. But we'll show you here a little later how those scale values can really be any number you wish. I sometimes like to think of things out of 100 just for ease of math. So we'll get to the other couple of ways to look at it, but the weight now for this first assessment is essentially the scale value that was assigned to the first assignment divided by the scale value total for all the assignments. And we see that the first assessment is equal to 5% of the unit. If we do the same calculation for the next assignment, 5 divided by 100, it's equal. So we'll make a little adjustment to our formula here, and we'll copy that out to the other assessments. Now, in this example, the math was pretty straightforward because the total scale value for all of the items in the unit equaled 100. So naturally, I'm getting 50% as a weight for the final assessment because 50 over 100 equals 50%. But let's take a look at other ways to come up with the scale value. So another way is just simply to take relativity. So maybe I say that the first assignment has a scale of 1 and the second assignment has a scale of 1 also. So we can see here how as I change those scale values, the total scale value is changing, and the weights of each assignment are dynamically changing based on the scale values that I assign. So if I was to go with relativity and say that the third assignment was twice as important as assignments 1 and 2, then you can see that the third assignment essentially becomes weighted at twice as much as assignment 1 or 2. And again, these assignments here, 4 and 5, are taking on an increased amount of weight because the total scale value of those assignments is a very large proportion of the total scale value for all of the assignments within this folder. So again, just thinking in terms of relativity, I might say that the fourth assignment was worth 4 times as much as assignments 1 or 2 and 2 times as much as assignment 3. And now you can see how the relative weight of the last assignment, because the scale value is so high, it takes on the lion's share of the the unit's weight. And that's probably a little high, so let's change that to a 20. And then you see how things start to match up. And again, if you thought that was still a little too high, then you could essentially decrease the scale value till you got something that was a little bit more to your liking. So that's another way to assign scale values, just thinking in terms of relativity. How much do we want one particular assignment to be weighted in the grand scheme, and just simply using numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. You could even use 0.5 or 15, and essentially you're just setting up relative terms of the weights. And you see in this example again that the total points, these point values of these assessments are not being used to determine the weights. It's essentially the scale value divided by the total scale value of all the assignments in the folder that gets used. Now, I hope that that makes sense.